What's going on, guys? We're back for another We're Racing video. Sorry it's been a while, but we're going to catch up. We're going to start off with the Spanish Grand Prix. It looked to be a really interesting race. Lots of teams bringing different packages, new upgrades to this circuit. We expected Ferrari to be on the pace, considering in the preseason test they really showed great competitiveness. So a lot to look forward to in this race. Was Red Bull going to have an upgraded package? Was they going to be on the tail end of the front here or not? Qualifying pretty much told the story. Mercedes miles ahead, especially Valtteri Bottas. But when it comes to the start of the race, it was Lewis Hamilton who nailed it. Bottas did say that he had a bit of a clutch issue. We've seen that on both of the cars. It seems that whoever starts second gets off the line best. So Vettel managed to get up round the outside into turn one, and there was 3 abreast going into the corner. Valtteri Bottas was very wise, gave his teammate and Sebastian enough room to breathe and managed to come out unscathed into turn one. Lewis Hamilton, he showed no holds barred in coming into this corner. He's been too kind, he said, in Azerbaijan, etc. And after that, it was pretty much a walk in the park for Lewis Hamilton. He had the upper hand in terms of strategy, pace, and he just felt at one with the car. So there was a safety car that may have been a cause for concern for Lewis. However, it worked out pretty well. They went for the 2-stop strategy and they come out on top once again. So that's 5 1-2s in a row. I can't comprehend how dominant that actually is. So Lewis saying this is history in the making. So proud to be part of it. She's a great car. We don't always get along. I'm grateful we managed to settle our differences and get away from the start in first position. So Lewis Hamilton, he's now got the upper hand in the championship once again. Valtteri Bottas seen congratulating him here. I think we've got a nice dynamic with this Mercedes duo. It's not the same spice as we've seen with Rosberg, for instance, but it finished Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Vettel, Leclerc, Gasly, Magnussen, Sainz, Kvyat, Grosjean, Albon, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Raikkonen, Perez, Giovinazzi, Russell, Kubica, and we had Stroll and Norris not finish this race after they collided. So Hamilton now 112 points to Bottas's 105. Verstappen in third on 66, and then it's Vettel on 64, then Leclerc. So Ferrari are miles and miles away at this point. It's going to get to this point pretty soon. I know there's a lot of races left, but they're going to have to start writing off this season and really throw everything behind the 2020 car because Mercedes are a machine at the minute. They're just churning out performance after performance, 1-2 after 1-2. Remember, the other cars, the other teams, they've brought upgraded power units. Mercedes are yet to show their card and bring their updated power unit. They're running to schedule. They've got their plan. They've got their upgrades. As you can see, little intricate things here like the wind mirrors that are really making the difference. And as a package, this Mercedes car looks complete. The drivers seem to find it quite compliant. Lewis didn't particularly like it in the qualifying session, but you can see in the race, he really got it switched on. And it's great to see them holding up the boss here because it's all down to Mercedes that these two are so far ahead. Otherwise, it would be a pretty interesting championship. So Valtteri just admitting he lost it at the start. There was some strange behavior on the clutch. And we can see the moustaches in full swing. Valtteri, it was his beard that was giving him good luck. So Lewis Hamilton just taking a piece of that. Max Verstappen definitely done well. Pretty deserved to get driver of the day. Who was yours? He said it was a hectic first corner, so he just backed out of it. It gave him a good position. From there, the Mercedes was too quick, but he could do his own pace. We were competitive. He said he weren't competitive, so he was quite happy to be on the podium. Considering the Ferrari package, you must be very, very pleased to not split them, but to get in front of them. The boss says, for a while, it looked as though we might get all 4 cars into the points, but in the end, we just missed out on that, which is a shame. In qualifying and the race, the gap to the Mercedes is still clear to see. Now we must simply carry on working as hard as possible to try and catch them up, basically. So this is looking a real contender. If anyone's going to take the fight to Mercedes at the minute, especially at the likes of Singapore, Monaco, and the tracks which don't necessarily favor the Mercedes, it's going to be the Red Bull. Now, how about this? Very different concepts. Of course, Red Bull brought in the high rake setup for their car. A lot of teams have adopted it. Mercedes, not so much so. They run the smallest rake out of all of the cars, and you can see how far ahead they are. So completely different concepts. Expect to see a win for a Honda this year. I'd love to see that, especially at the next race in Monaco. It'd be great to see Max, even Pierre Gasly, for instance, win that race. That would be asking a bit too much, I think. But real great, solid start to the season for Max Verstappen. A real mature racing. I feel like he said about backing out into turn one here. That's not the old Max. He would have gone banzai, really tried to squeeze the car in front, maybe chipped the front wing, punctured another car, for instance. But yeah, real mature drive from Max Verstappen in the opening rounds. Pierre Gasly seems to be finding his feet as well. So Max said, tried to maximize everything I have, and I'm happy with today's result. I think he's driving that car almost at 105% in a minute. Pierre said, I think we have good potential on some of the upcoming tracks, which should suit the car better, maybe himself as well. I think he's getting used to the car. Now, Ferrari. Disappointment of the year, number one. Potentially Williams as well. But Ferrari, real disappointing start. This dynamic now between the two drivers is really, really costing them. We've got the ego, Sebastian Vettel, I'm number one. We've got the young, raw, pacey Leclerc, who wants to fight his teammates. And, well, he doesn't really want to fight him, but he's quicker than him. As we saw, Sebastian locked up into turn one, suffered massively with the flat spot on his tyre, which only got compounded in the opening phases of the race. They took way too long to let Leclerc through. And they did let him through, but it was too late. Compromised him, ever chasing down the Mercedes, all putting pressure on Max Verstappen. And then after that, they let Sebastian Vettel back through. And yeah, a real sad race once again for Charles Leclerc. I feel really sorry for the kid. I think time will come where he will win a race. It's only a matter of time, in my opinion. Mercedes will have an off day, and he will hopefully be on the top step of the podium. What do you think? Have Ferrari been unfair to Charles Leclerc, or are they right to favour a four-time world champion? Just saying that in itself should tell the story. Now, McLaren, been really, really impressed with them in the opening rounds of the championship. And Carlos Sainz, he had a great race at his home circuit. Really good to see him get a great bag of points, really get racy as well. That McLaren is looking quick. It's topped the speed traps with Norris. So it's looking like a really good package. It's looking like best of the rest, in my opinion. Haas, very hit and miss. He's really struggling to sometimes understand the tyres, get the car in the right window. And then also they're having issues with the likes of Grosjean, etc., not getting the performance out of it. But McLaren, good team lineup there. Mature Sainz, Norris learning his trade. Okay, Norris didn't have the best race. He really struggled off the start. Started P11, I think, dropped down to P16. And from there on, it was an uphill battle. He had, the strategy wasn't there because of the track position and really struggled. Here we can see Nando with a new paint job. This was during the subsequent test after the race, and here you can see the fastest pit stop went to McLaren, 2.07 seconds, and 2.1 as well for Carlos Sainz. So just proving how consistent they are. Here we can see the incident with Lance Stroll and Lando Norris going into turn one. What a bizarre one that was. I don't think Stroll actually saw him. If he did, he just couldn't get it out of the way, for instance. Better race for Haas, P7, P10. Grosjean should have brought it home, P8, potentially P7 himself. Günther Steiner said it's been a good weekend points-wise, getting both cars into the points. Whole team done a good job, and we can be happy to come away for a double points finish. Grosjean bottled it for me. We saw him take numerous advantage through turn one, turn two. He said here, yes, it's been a good weekend. We had a good pace overall. I'm quite happy with the way we acted this weekend. Happy with the pace shown in the car. So a lot of battles going into turn one, and we saw Grosjean diving out, going across the runoff area and going round that policed bollard, which we can see just there. Did it penalise him enough? There was an incident when the McLaren and him went touched into turn one, and actually McLaren come out behind because he didn't lose that advantage going around that runoff area. I thought he should have been reprimanded, even though he stuck to the rules there, because he did take the piss, basically, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on that. Was he right to do it? Okay, yes, 1-2 times, but still, I think it was a bit too much. So we've seen a lot of young drivers in the test this week. Here we can see a visual. This is just a visual representation of the gaps between the cars of the constructor standings. Mercedes miles ahead. Alfa Romeo Racing. So a very disappointing weekend for them. They didn't have the pace, straight line speed. Looked to be struggling for overall aero and just downforce on the car. Kimi Raikkonen had a lap 1 incident which really compromised him. Giovinazzi's not been at the races, still adapting, still getting there. So yeah, really disappointing race for Alfa Romeo. Hope to see more of them. Don't expect them to go too well around the streets of Monaco. They sort of seem to have that aggressive style package similar to the Ferrari concept. Doesn't seem to be paying off for them. We know they've got a great engine in the back of it. Here we can see some of the tech updates on the McLaren. You can see the before and after, just a lot more intricacy, just so much detail goes into it. It's like these old front wings, but they've got even more room now to expand. So the Honda boss had a pretty good birthday, you must say. Seeing Max Verstappen, another podium for Honda in this new era, hybrid era, shall we say. The Toro Rosso team, so Danny Kvyat had a pretty solid race. Moving on to Renault, race to forget, P12, P13, middle of nowhere, back of the midfield, pretty miserable weekend. Cyril must have real concerns now, must be looking over his shoulder as well in terms of, you know, potentially a new boss coming in. So Barcelona is always a good weekend to assess the competitiveness of the car, and pretty much they wasn't there this weekend. Williams taking slow steps forward, you must say. Kubica had a pretty good start. Russell managed to get back past him again. Still, they're just going to be nowhere this year, are they? They're really, really that far off the back end of the field. They can only really race with other cars if there is a pit lane start, safety car, or, you know, there's some damage to other vehicles on the circuit. So what a great gesture this was. This young lad sent a video to Lewis, and they actually sent a car out to him and the race-winning trophy. Here we can see a naked underfloor of an F1 car. I've never seen one before, so I thought I'd share that with you. Looks beautiful. Here we can see some of the updates on the HAAS car. Look how many veins and, you know, turning points we've got on the barge boards there. It's quite incredible. Another look here at the floor. Really intricate, beautiful. This is artwork for me. I don't go to the Tate Modern. I look at F1. Here we can see another more radical concept of another barge board. Got a whole front wing going on there. That's just for jokes. Kimmy's saying, hold on a minute. I'm the Iceman. I've got this under control. Sorry for the fuck up, but expect better from him in Monaco. So what was your thoughts on the race? Pretty dull one. A lot of people losing sight in this championship. Moving on. We've got Alonso here. Had an incident at the Indy practice. Let's have a look. So he's learning his trade there, getting the set up, for instance. So other big news here is we've got the return of the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. So it's a historic track. Obviously, you're going to have to modernize it a little bit more, probably. But yeah, great to see Max Verstappen have a home race, the home of the orange. I look forward to that, and it'll be a potential race that we could visit as well. So another quick look here through the classification. Solid race from Hamilton. Didn't really have much to do after turn one. Then there was Bottas. Verstappen really drove out of his skin to bring it home in front of the Ferraris. Then we had Gasly improving by the week, you must say. K-Mag with a solid drive in P7. Carlos Sainz, exceptional drive from him, I'd say P8. Kvyat looking really punchy in the Toro Rosso P9. And Grosjean rounding out the top 10. Albon, quite unlucky there, really, not to get on the back of Grosjean, who was losing pace at that phase of the race. Danny Ricciardo, really disappointing, as well as Hulkenberg. Raikkonen had that, that issue at the start of the race. Perez, the Racing Point, keep calling him Force India, Racing Point, way off it in Spain. Obviously, they brought a lot of updates, so probably trying to understand that would be my reasoning. Giovinazzi, nowhere to be seen again, really struggling for pace. And then, of course, the boys in the Williams, Russell and Kubica with no hope. You can see Lance Stroll and Lando Norris both out after their incident. So pretty much everyone was looking at a one-stop, but then quickly realized that a two-stop would be the quicker race pace. Of course, safety car helped that towards the end as well, helped them save tires. So what's your thoughts on the video? Express your opinions in the comments below. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. And I'll see you again soon for another We're Racing video. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.